The forest around our outpost was quiet that evening, too quiet. Usually, you could hear the distant hum of drones or the shrill calls of night beasts. That night, there was only silence, until she came. Branches snapped, and an alien girl stumbled into view. She was small, barely reaching my chest, her silver-blue skin streaked with dirt and blood. Her chest rose and fell in panicked gasps, eyes wide with terror. Before I could react, she pressed herself against me, trembling so hard I could feel it in my bones. That's when the hunters appeared. They emerged from the trees in formation, tall, broad figures in dark armor made of bone and steel. Their faces were hidden behind masks carved with snarling expressions. In their hands gleamed weapons shaped like jagged spears, blades that looked forged for the sole purpose of intimidation. The leader stepped forward, voice sharp and cold. "She does not belong with you, human. Hand her over." I blinked, still trying to process what was happening. "She's just a child." "She is defective," the leader snapped. "Our laws are clear. Weakness must be purged. Step aside." The girl whimpered and clutched tighter at my jacket. That small, desperate grip said more than words ever could. In that moment, I realized something terrifying. She hadn't just stumbled into me by chance. She had chosen me. Out of everyone in this vast, merciless world, she thought I might protect her. The hunters advanced a step, weapons gleaming in the dim light. My instincts screamed to move, to let them take her. After all, I wasn't a soldier, just another colonist trying to survive. But the thought of stepping aside, of watching those blades strike down a terrified child, made my stomach twist. I forced my voice steady. "Not happening." The leader's mask tilted. "Do you challenge us, Dirt Walker?" Humor slipped past my fear. "No, I'm just standing here until someone smarter than me shows up." A growl of laughter rippled among the hunters. But their leader didn't laugh. He raised his blade, pointing it at my chest. "Then you die with her." The forest air turned heavy, silence pressing in. I stood there with nothing but my shaking hands and a girl clinging to my back, and I knew this was only the beginning. I brought the girl back to our outpost, my pulse still hammering from that confrontation. The gates sealed shut behind us, and the guards stared as though I'd carried a live bomb into camp. Within the hour, the council gathered. Our colony wasn't large, barely a few hundred souls, but its leaders were sharp, hardened by years of survival on alien soil. At the center sat Commander Eliza, her eyes like flint. Around her, the others, Marcus the doctor, Tam the anthropologist, and a half-dozen weary settlers who carried more authority than they wanted. They all stared at the girl as if she were a puzzle piece that didn't fit. "She's injured," Marcus said at once, crouching to check her pulse. "Breathing weak, heart irregular. She won't last without treatment." Eliza's gaze didn't soften. "Treatment means resources. And resources mean lives. Tell me why we should risk war for her." Before I could answer, the doors groaned open. The hunters had followed. 3 of them entered the chamber, their presence like a shadow falling across the room. The leader removed his mask, revealing pale, scarred skin and eyes that burned with contempt. "You shelter what is ours," he declared. "Return the defect, and this ends. Resist, and you invite blood." Eliza's jaw tightened. "This is human ground. We decide what ends here." The hunter snarled, then slammed the butt of his spear against the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. "Then we invoke the old law. Trial by combat. One champion for her life." The room erupted. Some shouted in outrage, others in fear. Trial by combat hadn't been seen in generations. It was ancient ritual, brutal and absolute. Win, and the girl lived. Lose, and she died, along with her defender. Eliza looked around the room, searching for someone, anyone, willing to accept. Silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. That's when I opened my mouth, against every survival instinct I had. "I'll do it." The council froze. Marcus whispered, "Jack, you're not a fighter." I gave a shaky grin. "Guess I'll just have to improvise." The hunter's leader bared his teeth in a smile that held no warmth. Then prepare, human. Tomorrow, your blood and hers will stain the sand together. The girl's small hand found mine beneath the table, gripping tight. She believed in me, more than I believed in myself. And that terrified me more than the coming fight. Dawn broke cold and unforgiving. The arena was nothing more than a ring of stone, carved long ago by hands that believed blood was the truest form of justice. Colonists gathered on one side, Zuran hunters on the other. Between us, the air itself seemed to hold its breath. I stepped into the circle with nothing but a crude spear, my palms slick with sweat. Across from me towered the Zuran champion, muscles corded like steel cables, his weapon a brutal axe carved from bone and alloy. He looked down at me as one might look at an insect. A horn sounded. The trial began. He came at me with the confidence of someone who had never lost. Each strike shook the ground, each swing a reminder that I was a fool to stand there. My arms screamed with every parry. The crowd gasped when his blade grazed my side, a shallow cut but enough to spill blood. He grinned, certain of victory. But desperation makes you inventive. I let him press me back, step by step, until my heels brushed the edge of the arena. As he lifted his axe for the final blow, I hurled the spear, not at him, but at the ground between us. The tip struck stone, splintering, sending shards into his eyes. He roared, staggering blind for a moment. That was all I needed. I grabbed a fallen chain from the arena floor, looped it around his ankle, and yanked with everything I had. The mighty warrior crashed onto the sand, his axe spinning out of reach. Before he could rise, I planted my boot on his chest and raised a broken piece of spear to his throat. Silence. The Zuran leader stood and, after a long pause, gave a single nod. By law, the human wins. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Against all reason, the girl had been spared. But as I staggered back to her, blood still dripping from my side, she looked up at me with trembling lips. Her voice was barely a whisper, but it cut deeper than any blade. They weren't hunting me just because I'm weak, she said. I saw something. Machines, under the ground. And they're waking. Her secret wasn't weakness. It was prophecy. And suddenly, the fight I had just survived felt like the smallest battle of all. The council barely had time to argue over the girl's revelation before the first scream split the night. We rushed outside. Torches flickered along the barricades as shapes moved just beyond the light. At first I thought it was more hunters, but the sound, low growls, bone-rattling hisses, told me otherwise. The shadow stalkers had come. Creatures whispered about in half-believed legends. Predators older than the Zuran, drawn from their deep hibernation by the trembling of the earth. Now, with the machines beneath us stirring, they were awake and hungry. They burst from the darkness, towering beasts cloaked in scales that drank the light. Their eyes glowed faintly, like coals, and their limbs ended in hooked claws built to tear stone apart. The first leapt the barricade, scattering guards like children's toys. Panic ripped through the colony. People screamed, weapons fired, but the creatures seemed to melt around every shot. The Zuran hunters drew their blades, roaring their battle cries. For the first time since arriving, I saw fear flicker even in their leader's eyes. The girl clung to me, whispering in a trembling voice, "These are the shadows from my visions. They're here because the ground is waking." I shoved her toward Marcus, yelling, "Keep her safe," then grabbed the nearest weapon I could, a torch. It felt ridiculous, standing against monsters with nothing but fire. But when the flames licked close to their skin, the beasts shrieked, retreating for a breath. It wasn't much, but it was something. "Fire!" I shouted. "Use fire!" Colonists scrambled, lighting whatever they could. The barricades turned into walls of flame, and for a moment the shadows faltered. Side by side, humans and Zuran fought, their hatred drowned out by sheer survival instinct. One of the hunters even saved a human boy, dragging him back from a stalker's jaws with a guttural snarl. Our eyes met across the chaos. For a heartbeat, enemy lines blurred. Hours, or maybe only minutes, passed in a blur of fire, screams, and smoke. Finally, the creatures pulled back into the forest, vanishing as swiftly as they had come. We had survived. Barely. But survival came with a price. As the fires died, the ground beneath us trembled once more, and from the shattered soil emerged the faint glow of alien glyphs. The machines she had seen in her visions weren't myth. They were real. And they were waking. The fires smoldered low, throwing long shadows across the ruined outpost. We stood among the wreckage, humans and Zuran alike, breathing hard, still tasting smoke and blood in the air. For a moment, no one spoke. Survival had silenced even our fiercest enemies. And then the ground split again. A low hum rose from the cracked earth as glowing lines carved themselves across the soil, pulsing like veins of light. The tremor knocked people to their knees. From beneath, something vast stirred, ancient machinery stretching beyond sight, older than either of our species. The girl, Lyra, staggered forward. Her skin glowed faintly in the same rhythm as the glyphs. Marcus tried to hold her back, but she shook her head, eyes fixed on the light. "This is what I saw," she whispered. "The reason they wanted me gone. My visions are tied to them." The council and hunters crowded closer, fear etched on every face. Tam, the anthropologist, muttered, "If these machines are what I think they are, they predate the Zuran Empire by millennia. This isn't just technology. It's godlike." Before anyone could answer, Lyra swayed and collapsed into my arms. Her breathing was shallow, each exhale weaker than the last. Panic gripped me harder than any blade. "Stay with me," I begged, clutching her small hand. "You came to me for protection. I can't let you go now." Her lips trembled in the faintest smile. "I didn't run to you, because I thought you were strong." Her voice cracked, fragile as glass. "I ran because you looked like someone who wouldn't turn away." The words cut through me, sharper than any hunter's weapon. Her eyes fluttered closed, and for a heartbeat I thought I had lost her. But then the glyphs beneath us flared brighter, and a surge of energy raced into her body. Her skin shimmered, her pulse steadied. Everyone gasped as her eyes snapped open, no longer the soft blue of before, but blazing with alien light. "She's connected to them," Marcus whispered. The ground rumbled louder, the machines awakening in full. And in that blinding glow, I realized the cruelest truth. She hadn't just carried fear. She carried the key to surviving whatever was coming. And now, every power in the galaxy would come for her.